Have you ever wondered if the law of cause and effect is a fundamental reality or merely an illusion that our minds create? How can we truly understand the power of cause and effect when we are trapped in the cycle of birth and death, constantly subject to the consequences of our actions? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are going to explore a profound and paradoxical teaching that is central to Buddhist practice, the law of cause and effect. While many people may believe that cause and effect is a simple concept, what you do in this life will determine your fate, the truth is far deeper and more subtle. In fact, the law of cause and effect may be an illusion until we transcend the ordinary understanding of it. In this video, we will dive into the nature of the law of cause and effect, and how our understanding of it may be distorted by our limited perspective. How the Buddhist path helps us transcend the conventional understanding of cause and effect, and break free from the cycle of suffering and rebirth. Practical steps we can take to purify our minds, break the cycle of karmic consequences, and achieve liberation from the illusions that bind us. Let's begin by contemplating a fundamental question. What is the nature of reality? The Buddha taught that all phenomena in the world, including the law of cause and effect, are impermanent and empty, not in the sense that they do not exist, but that they do not exist independently of other causes and conditions. Everything is interconnected, and nothing has a fixed, inherent nature. In Buddhist teachings, this concept is known as emptiness shunyata. When we view the world through the lens of emptiness, we begin to realize that what we perceive as reality is merely an illusion, a projection of our own minds. For example, the law of cause and effect, as most of us understand it, seems straightforward. Good actions bring good results, and bad actions bring bad consequences. This view, however, is limited because it assumes that cause and effect operate independently of the mind. But the Buddha taught that cause and effect are not just external forces at play. They are deeply intertwined with our mental states, perceptions, and consciousness. The law of cause and effect, as understood through the lens of emptiness, reveals that the outcomes of our actions are not fixed or predetermined. They are not inherently good or bad, but rather depend on the intention behind the action. When we perform an action with wisdom and compassion, the result will naturally be positive. However, when our actions arise from ignorance, hatred, or delusion, the result will be negative. In this way, the law of cause and effect is a reflection of our own consciousness and perceptions. The illusion of suffering, breaking free from the cycle of rebirth. One of the most powerful teachings in Buddhism is the idea of samsara, the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. According to Buddhist teachings, samsara is not just a physical cycle, but a mental one. We are constantly reborn into new experiences based on the mental patterns and habits that we accumulate over time. These patterns are shaped by the law of cause and effect. When we act out of ignorance, we create more suffering for ourselves, perpetuating the cycle of samsara. In samsara, we are caught in the illusion that we are separate from the world around us, that we are independent and autonomous beings. This belief in separation leads to attachment, desire, and aversion, the very causes of suffering. Our attachment to the belief in a fixed, separate self keeps us locked in the cycle of samsara, and we continue to experience the consequences of our actions as though they are real and permanent. The Buddha taught that the path to liberation is not about escaping cause and effect, but rather transcending the illusion of separation. When we awaken to the truth of our interconnectedness, we can begin to see the law of cause and effect as a tool for growth and transformation, rather than something that binds us to suffering. The path to liberation involves purifying our intentions, letting go of our attachments, and seeing the world as it truly is, empty of inherent existence and impermanent in nature. This process is known as awakening or enlightenment. When we reach enlightenment, we no longer perceive the world through the lens of attachment and delusion. We see things as they truly are, impermanent, interconnected, and empty of inherent existence. In this state, the law of cause and effect no longer operates as a force that binds us to suffering. Instead, it becomes a tool for spiritual growth and liberation. Practical steps to transcend cause and effect. Now that we have explored the deeper nature of the law of cause and effect, let's look at some practical steps we can take to begin transcending the illusions that bind us to samsara. Practice mindfulness and awareness. The first step is to develop mindfulness and awareness of the present moment. Mindfulness allows us to observe our thoughts, emotions, and actions without attachment or judgment. When we practice mindfulness, we can begin to see how our thoughts and actions create our experiences. By observing our habitual patterns and letting go of the attachment to them, we can begin to break the cycle of suffering. Cultivate compassion and wisdom. The next step is to cultivate compassion and wisdom. Compassion is the ability to feel empathy for others, and wisdom is the deep understanding of the impermanent and interconnected nature of all things. When we act with compassion and wisdom, we create positive karma, which helps us transcend the limitations of samsara and move toward liberation. Every act of kindness, every decision made with clarity and understanding, helps to purify our mind and break the chain of suffering. Let go of attachment and desire. The third step is to let go of attachment and desire. The Buddha taught that attachment to things, people, and even ideas is the root cause of suffering. When we cling to the idea of a permanent self, we are trapped in the illusion of separation. By letting go of attachment and desire, we free ourselves from the bonds of samsara and experience the peace and freedom that comes with enlightenment. Engage in regular meditation. Meditation is a powerful tool for breaking the cycle of samsara and transcending the illusion of cause and effect. Through meditation, we can quiet the mind and observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment. By cultivating a deep sense of inner peace and clarity, we can see the world more clearly and act with wisdom and compassion. Embrace the law of interdependence. Finally, it's important to embrace the law of interdependence. In Buddhism, everything is interconnected, and no thing exists independently. When we realize that we are not separate from the world around us, we can begin to let go of the illusion of self and experience a deep sense of unity with all beings. This realization is the key to transcending the illusion of cause and effect and breaking free from the cycle of birth and death. As we reach the conclusion of this video, I encourage you to reflect on your own understanding of the law of cause and effect. Do you see it as a force that binds you, or as a tool for growth and transformation? Are you ready to transcend the illusion of separation and embrace the interconnectedness of all things? As we continue to explore the transformative nature of the law of cause and effect, we delve deeper into the illusion of life and the misunderstanding of death and rebirth that keeps us trapped in the cycle of suffering. The more we learn to grasp the deeper meaning of these teachings, the more we realize that everything we experience is intricately tied to the seeds we plant in our hearts and minds. These seeds, whether of wisdom, kindness, or ignorance, grow and shape our experiences, and eventually determine the course of our lives. The illusion of separation, understanding the interconnection of all things. At the core of the Buddha's teachings is the understanding that separation is an illusion. From a conventional standpoint, we often see ourselves as separate entities, distinct from the world around us. We believe that we are individuals, disconnected from the universe and from each other. This perception leads to attachment, desire, and fear, as we cling to what we believe is ours and fear losing what we perceive as separate from us. In truth, however, everything in existence is interconnected. Our lives are deeply tied to the people we encounter, the environment we live in, and even the subtle forces of nature that shape the world. The Buddha's teaching of interdependence pathtopeace asserts that nothing exists in isolation. Every moment of our existence is the result of countless causes and conditions, and every action we take ripples out into the world, affecting those around us in ways we may not even recognize. By recognizing the interconnection of all things, we shift from a mindset of individualism to one of interdependence. We begin to understand that our actions do not only affect us, but also those around us. This realization helps us transcend the illusion of separation and see that our karma, the results of our actions, is not just a personal matter, but a collective process that influences the entire world. This interdependence is a key element in transcending the illusions of cause and effect. By letting go of the belief in our separateness, we begin to see the world as a dynamic, ever-changing network of relationships, all flowing in and out of each other. In this way, our actions are not isolated or disconnected from others, but rather part of the ever-unfolding flow of life. When we act with wisdom and compassion, we contribute positively to the collective well-being. When we act out of ignorance and attachment, we contribute to suffering, not only for ourselves but for the world at large. Transcending the cycle of rebirth, the role of karmic seeds. One of the most profound aspects of the Buddha's teachings is the concept of karma, the law of cause and effect that governs our actions and their consequences. Karma is not simply about reward and punishment, it is about the seeds we plant in our hearts and minds. These seeds, whether of greed, hatred, or compassion, eventually grow into the fruits of our experiences. In the traditional view of samsara, we are locked in a cycle of rebirth, where the actions of our past lives determine the circumstances of our present and future lives. This cycle continues endlessly until we reach enlightenment, the realization of our true nature, and the cessation of all desires and attachments. However, the Buddha taught that the cycle of samsara is not inevitable. It is not something we are bound to forever. It is the result of our own ignorance, attachment, and clinging to the idea of a permanent self. Karma works through the accumulation of karmic seeds, the good and bad actions we perform. These seeds take root in our minds and hearts, shaping our future experiences. However, karma is not fixed. It is impermanent, and we have the power to transform it. Each thought, word, and deed we perform carries the potential to either create further suffering or to open the door to liberation. The Buddha taught that the key to transcending the cycle of birth and death is to purify the mind. When we purify our thoughts and actions, we eliminate the seeds of suffering and replace them with the seeds of wisdom, compassion, and kindness. By cultivating positive karma through mindful actions, we begin to create a new path, one that leads us out of the cycle of rebirth and suffering. But how do we begin this purification process? The first step is to recognize the nature of our karma, to acknowledge the seeds we are planting in our hearts and minds each day. Are we acting out of greed, hatred, or fear? Or are we cultivating compassion, generosity, and understanding? By understanding our current actions, we can begin to shift our intentions toward creating positive karmic seeds. This is not an overnight process, but a gradual transformation that occurs with each mindful action we take. Breaking free from the illusion of control, embracing the flow of life. As we work toward transcending the cycle of birth and death, we also come to realize that much of our suffering rises from the illusion of control. We often think that if we just try hard enough, we can control every aspect of our lives, our relationships, our careers, our health, and even our emotions. But the truth is, life is full of uncertainty. We cannot control everything, and the more we try, the more we set ourselves up for frustration and suffering. The Buddha's teachings encourage us to embrace the impermanence of life and let go of the need for control. This does not mean that we become passive or indifferent to life's challenges. On the contrary, it means that we approach life with equanimity, the ability to remain calm and composed in the face of both pleasure and pain. By letting go of the need to control outcomes, we allow ourselves to experience life more fully and with greater peace. One of the most profound aspects of this process is the realization that true freedom comes not from external circumstances, but from our ability to let go of the attachment to them. When we stop clinging to the need for things to be a certain way, we open ourselves up to the natural flow of life. We can accept whatever comes our way with grace, knowing that everything is part of the greater whole, and that every experience, no matter how challenging, is an opportunity for growth. The freedom of transcendence, living beyond the illusion of cause and effect. The Buddha's path to enlightenment is ultimately a path to freedom. It is freedom from the illusions that bind us to suffering, from the attachments that cloud our judgment, and from the belief that we are separate from the world around us. When we transcend the illusion of cause and effect, and embrace the interconnectedness of all things, we experience true liberation. This freedom is not about escaping the world or the consequences of our actions. Rather, it is about transforming our relationship to them. By purifying our hearts and minds, we begin to experience life with a greater sense of clarity, compassion, and wisdom. The law of cause and effect no longer feels like a force that binds us to suffering. Instead, it becomes a tool for growth and enlightenment. At the heart of this teaching is the understanding of impermanence. Life is fleeting, and everything in this world is subject to change. This understanding helps us let go of the need for permanence and control. It frees us from the suffering that arises when we cling to things that are ultimately transient. As we draw this video to a close, I invite you to reflect on your own relationship with the law of cause and effect. How do you perceive the world around you? Do you see yourself as separate, or do you recognize the interconnectedness of all things? Are you ready to transcend the illusions that bind you to suffering and embrace the freedom of enlightenment? Thank you for watching this video. I hope this discussion on the law of cause and effect has helped you gain a deeper understanding of the nature of reality and the path to liberation. If this video resonated with you, please share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to stay updated with more insightful content. Your support means everything to me, and I look forward to sharing more with you soon. Thank you for watching.